Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to the homestead. So I'm down here, been getting things ready for deer season, which starts next weekend, or this coming weekend rather. Pretty excited. We've been having some good deer on trail cameras, and hopefully we'll get a lot of meat for this next winter. In this video I want to talk about the 5 things that I learned while living off the grid. Number 1, insulation. First, I gotta say that your cabin or house, if you're going to live off the grid, or even if you're just building, you want energy efficiency, you need to insulate your building well. Now, while the downstairs and the walls of my cabin were well insulated, the upstairs walls and ceiling was not insulated yet, and I about froze to the winter. There were some mornings I'd wake up and it would be 35 degrees inside the cabin. I think I mentioned that in my previous videos. Now, I did take clear sheet plastic and I did cover up the staircase and the bottom of the stairwell to try and keep as much heat as I could downstairs, but that still didn't cut it. And you know, even with the Pioneer made wood cook stove, which is rated to heat, I think around 2,400 square feet, it just didn't keep me comfortable. It didn't really keep me warm through the winter. I mean, I survived down here, but it was not pleasurable at all. So to make your cabin or house that you want to live off the grid in, if you want to live in it comfortably, you need to insulate it very well. Next, we have water. You need running water for your cabin. You know, some people say, well, you don't need running water. Well, I want to tell you, between having electricity and running water, I would choose running water over electricity every day. Because think of how much you use your water. Use it to bathe with, you use it to wash your hands with, you use it to wash your dishes with, you cook with it, you bathe in it. I mean, everything. Wash your clothes. So when you don't have running water in your off-grid cabin or house, it makes life a lot more difficult. So one of the things I'll be doing before I move back in the cabin is having a way to have running water. I'll probably, for the temporary, hook up to public water system just to get me through the winter. I'm wanting to get back moved in the next few months. We'll see if that happens. But I'll also hook up hot running water. Hot running water is a big thing. I mean, yeah, I did hook up a system in the bathroom that had a battery operated shower system, and that did work. But you know, every night going and heating your water in the pan, doing all that, and being limited to about 4 gallons of water for a shower, is it doable? Absolutely. Is it the most ideal, or is it pleasurable? No. You know, especially when you're a welder, fabricator, and blacksmith, such as myself, you really get really dirty. I mean, you get filthy dirty. And there were days where I would have to take one shower, I use up that 4 or 5 gallons of water, and then I would have to get out, still wet, put more water on the stove, and take a second shower in order to get clean. So have running water, okay, especially hot running water if you can. It's that important. Next, we have refrigeration. You know, when I was looking into moving off the grid last year, I thought, well, I tell you what I want to do. I want to do like the local Mennonite community just down the road from here does, and get a nice cooler and put my food in a cooler and keep my fresh food that way. Good plan. However, the difference was they bought a quality cooler. They have Pelicans, Yetis, you know, and their food, I mean, they don't have to put ice in it, but like once a week. I was reading online and found, you know what? From what people are saying, these Walmart off-brand coolers hold ice pretty good. You know, they're a lot like a Yeti. So I bought one of those. Bad move. I was putting ice in that thing every other day. It just would not keep ice. I would keep it in the shade. I would do everything to try and keep it cool, but it just was not cutting it. So I thought, well, maybe I got a bad one. So I took it back to Walmart, got another one, told them this one was defective, and it did leak some also. Got it back. This one leaked a little bit as well, not as much out of the bottom, but it still did not keep my food cold. So in the end, I had to figure out what foods didn't have to be refrigerated and just kept those in the house. You know, and a lot of people say, well, you know, in the winter time you don't have to worry about that. Well, here in Kentucky, If you live up north, that's probably true. But here in Kentucky, I mean, we can get some warm days. I mean, we'll get some days in the winter time that you can wear a t-shirt. So that doesn't hold true in this area. So have a form of refrigeration. Something I've looked at doing is buying an old RV refrigerator that runs off AC, DC, and propane. So very versatile unit. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but for somebody, just a single person like myself, or a married couple, or maybe I would even say a couple with a child, could probably use one of those refrigerators on a regular basis, and they wouldn't be hurting for capacity. Next on my list is laundry. Have a way to do your laundry effectively and efficiently off the grid. Now, if you've been looking into living off the grid or getting back to basics, chances are you've probably seen the method where people take a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, cut a hole in the lid, and use a brand new plunger in order to agitate your clothes. Now, this does work. I did it for a short while. But it is very, very time consuming. And for someone like myself, it's just me, and I'm having to try and run a small business, work on the homestead, cut firewood, do everything. You just don't have that kind of time. So I ended up once a week loading up all my dirty clothes and going to a local laundromat. I didn't like it. It wasn't cheap, but it would take me so long to do clothes that way. And two, I did not have a wringer. I would have to hand wring the clothes out, and that was quite a pain. I'm sure if I'd had a regular hand cranked wringer, it probably would have sped the process up, but still with washing, rinsing, and rinsing again, it just wasn't feasible to do it that way. So if you're gonna move off the grid, find a good way to do your laundry, whether it's with a James hand washer if you don't have any electricity. They're a fairly effective unit, and have a good wringer and a rinse tub. Also, there's other companies that make highly efficient washing machines. The first one that comes to mind is a Staber. They use very little electricity, use very little water. So just do your research and try to figure out the best way to do your laundry efficiently, and find this method and try it and use it prior to moving off the grid if you can. And then that'll give you an idea, this doesn't work for me, I need to look at other options. So do that, look into that, get that taken care of. And then last but not least, this is something I see people do all the time. I'm guilty of it, my parents did it. Everybody I know that has tried to build their own house themselves, or try to do it off the grid style, they move in before the house is complete. Okay? I've done it. Now it is going to make working on the house now a royal pain in the butt. You think, dear, back from that interruption of a deer. You think, well, I moved into it, I'm going to be more motivated to get stuff done. No, you're not. That was my thinking, and that was not the case. I got in, and then every time I did something, it made such a mess, I'd have sawdust in my coffee cup. It just was an absolute pain. And now that I moved out, a lot of my furniture and stuff is still there. So when I go to lay flooring, guess what? Everything has to come out of that room. Everything has to come out. And you have to work around a bunch of stuff, and it just takes longer. It's more frustrating. So get it done before you move into your off-grid house or cabin. That is huge. I was given that advice, I didn't listen, now I get to pay the price. So those are my five main things I learned from living off the grid for 9 months. I hope you can take away from this some things, maybe save you some grief and problems and troubles that I went through. If there's something else you'd like to know more of, pop a question down in the comments. I'll get back with you on that. Also, check us out on other social media platforms. We're on Facebook at KY Off Grid Homestead. I'll put a link down in the description, and also on Instagram at KY Blacksmith. So guys, I'm glad I got to share this time with you. I've got to go up here and get to work and get everything else ready for deer season. Take care. God bless.